Hello, and thank you so much for joining me. If this is our first time together, my name is Patrick Geary. I am an intuitive astrologer and celestial channel, and the way that I work best is by allowing information to flow to and through me in the moment. So, thank you so much for your patience if there are pauses or flubs, as it does. And let's get started taking a look at the journey of the sun through the sign of Capricorn over this next month. And I'll start by pulling up one chart just to take a peek at the moment that the sun ingresses into the sign of Capricorn, which is, of course, a solstice point. Here in the northern hemisphere, where I am, it is the winter solstice. Down in the southern hemisphere, it is the summer solstice. No matter where you are, the sun is entering the sign of Capricorn, and it is also experiencing a still point, which is what solstice means. So, this is a very key moment in the solar cycle. There are four key moments, the solstices and the equinoxes throughout the year, that you could analogize to the new moon, the first quarter moon, the third quarter moon, and the full moon. The difference, of course, being up here in the northern hemisphere, this might have more of a new moon inception quality, since this is the time of the least light during the day. And in the southern hemisphere, this might have more of a full moon quality, since it is the time when there is the most light over the course of a day. Regardless, we'll be looking at the imprint and the energy for the next month that this ingress into Capricorn sets up for all of us, no matter what hemisphere you find yourself in. And there are a couple things that I want to highlight that make this chart fairly extraordinary, at least in my mind. So if we look over here, we've got the sun at 0 degrees of Capricorn. Interestingly, this ingress is happening here in London at 3:03:06 p.m. And I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. 3 plus 3 equals 6, and then 3 plus 3 plus 6 equals 12. We're looking at 12. 12 is a wonderful number. 12 is a powerful number. 12 is also how many signs there are in the zodiac. It is a fundamental basis for the whole construct we have around astrology, also around time. And 1 plus 2 equals 3. So if we look at this base or root number, we're looking at 3, and 3 is a number of harmony, among other things. And that takes us back to the two threes that are sitting here, or even the three digits that we're adding up, 3, 3, and 6. So already this feels to me like a fairly extraordinary event just by looking at the numbers. And looking more at the astrology, so we see the sun here at 0 degrees of Capricorn, and what really jumped off the page right away to me is that the sun is at the midpoint, so sitting 4 degrees behind Mars at 4 degrees of Capricorn, and it's also 4 degrees ahead of Venus at 26 degrees of Sagittarius. So it's at the midpoint of Mars and Venus. And it is also at the midpoint of the moon, 17 degrees ahead of the sun at 17 Capricorn, and Mercury at 13 degrees of Sagittarius, 17 degrees behind the sun. So this is a really powerful alignment. We have that sun holding the center between Venus and Mars, also between the moon and Mercury. And so we're involving the sun, the moon, Mercury, Venus, and Mars. So this is kind of the innermost planets we might think of in our solar system. So this also indicates to me that on a personal level, since these inner planets will more often speak to things that we experience on a personal level in our personality, the further out we go, the more collective we get, the bigger we get. So this is a really big personal activation. When I think about Venus and Mars, among other things, one of the things I think about when these two planets come together is passion and excitement and drive. And this to me is one of the organizing principles of our lives. Doing what you love, doing what lights you up, doing what fills you with passion, what gets you out of bed in the morning, what brings you into that state of joy. And knowing that when you do what you love, you are also doing something that you're good at, because this is how we're wired. If you love doing something, it's also something that you are going to be talented at, something that you are naturally gifted at doing. It's perhaps why it brings you so much joy, whatever it might look on the outside, knowing that just being in that vibration of love and being in that vibration of success, I might even say, that this really changes everything. And it decides what the universe wants to offer us. If we pursue what we love, if we pursue what we're passionate about, the more that we allow ourselves to do this, the more of that we get. And I'm also really struck here by the moon and Mercury. And when I think about this, I think about Mercury very much as the mind. It's so associated with how we think, how we process, how we communicate, even how we listen. And the moon to me is really associated with the body. It is how we absorb, it's how we nurture ourselves, it's how we nurture others. It is a sense of safety. And it really does, when I look at these two together, bring up this merger of body and mind into body mind, an expression you might have heard about, and perhaps the reality of what's going on. There is no separation between the mind and the body. The mind is part of the body, the mind is embodied. That's what our bodies are, perhaps, an embodiment of the mind. So, this to me really brings out that nexus of embodiment into this particular solstice. So we're looking at me being fully embodied. We're also looking at me pursuing what I love, following my passion. And I'm also noticing that the sun is in a square relationship, which can hold a little bit of tension with the two planets up here, Saturn and Neptune, that will be coming together in February. And Saturn and Neptune coming together to me is all about our understanding of reality and how we construct it. Neptune would talk about the quantum field, the imaginal realm. It would blur the boundaries between what's real and what's not real and help us appreciate the magical way in which everything that we see, including ourselves, comes into being from nothingness. Everything comes from nothingness. And Saturn to me is very much the principle or the understanding of what is real or what is manifest before us in any given moment. So when I look at these two coming together, I think about the way that we are all constructing our own realities. And this is more and more an understanding that we have in quantum physics that there is no objective reality. Reality is subjective and it changes depending on how you see it. So, what does your reality look like if you start seeing it from a fully embodied place and you start choosing to pursue what brings you joy? You start choosing to pursue your passion. And to me, this is really a time to commit to that, to commit to being fully embodied, to pursuing what you love with every cell of your being, and to trust that when you do this, the universe will meet you and construct your reality, your experience of reality around this. So it's a really powerful and amazing time. And I also wanted to quickly highlight the Sabian symbols, which is a system that looks at a specific symbol for every single degree of the zodiac. And the symbol for 0 degrees of Capricorn, where we find the sun now, is a chief claiming recognition and power from the assembled tribe. So this is so much around assuming authority. And we have Saturn, which is the ambassador of Capricorn, sitting at 25 degrees of Pisces. The symbol for that degree is a new moon reveals that it's time for people to go ahead with their different projects. So, this to me is really about owning the power that you have to create your own reality and to move forward in the way that's right for you, regardless of whatever else might be happening around you. And again, it takes me back to that knowing that we all build our own realities. We're all the stars of our lives. We are all running our own shows. So take responsibility for yours and fill it with joy. Okay, so we'll take a peek now at all of the movements that are going to be happening as the sun goes through Capricorn, and also the other things that are happening in the in the sign of Capricorn as planets come in and out over the course of the month. And I want to highlight too, before I do that, this image behind me. This image is one that I got, an energy image I got for the month, and it is glorious. It's a magical meadow filled with Clydesdale horses. And I saw this image of a Clydesdale horse before a session with a client recently, and it was such a wonderful image to see. Just this glorious, gentle animal that is so hardy and so strong and so dedicated and so committed and has so much power. And yet there is also this patience, this slowness. this appreciation of being able to move forward step by step by step. Clydesdales have been associated with doing hard labor or been given, I don't know, you might think of heavy carts to pull. And here, the image I got was not of these Clydesdales at work, but just of them enjoying their lives. So, what's it like to be capable of hard work, to be capable of difficult labor, and to just relax and enjoy your life and know that there's nothing to do but eat grass and hang out. So I loved this. This felt like such a release from that pressure point of Capricorn, which can be so heavily associated with hard work and needing to make things happen. Well, what if you just commit to enjoying your life and you dedicate that spirit of hard work, diligence, and commitment to every day I'm going to show up and I'm going to do what is aligned for me in this moment. And I'm going to pursue what brings me joy, what brings the world joy. I'm going to know that this is what I'm good at, that this is what I came here to do. And then that whole idea of work being difficult or hard or painful just gets to evaporate. And if things do feel hard, it's joyful. It can be really nice to pull a cart sometimes. It can be really nice to show up and work a full day. Whatever it is that feels right to you, but it no longer has that feeling of heaviness. It's fully possible for me to carry a large suitcase through the airport without feeling heavy. I might actually be feeling joy for all of the presents that I have inside that I'm taking to people on the other end. Santa doesn't feel like Santa's doing particularly hard work, and Santa's sleigh has I don't know how many billions of presents in it these days. So, what's it like to live your life with that spirit? Okay, so let's dive in and talk about some of the particular movements. So that solstice point again is happening on December 21st. And at that point, we have the moon in Capricorn, so just following off a new moon in Sagittarius. And we have Mars in Capricorn. The sun is going to be moving with Mars and Venus throughout the whole month. So I really want to emphasize or highlight this point on being in touch with your own inner drive and your own inner passion and what lights you up and your sense of vitality. Um, Really as an energy that's present not only because it's present in this solstice chart, the Capricorn ingress chart, which really snaps it into place for the whole month, or even maybe the whole quarter, or depending on how you view your astrology, perhaps even the full year. Um, it's happening in the sky. So this is doubly emphasizing that energy is key or essential for us to engage with. So really bear that in mind as we're talking through all of these things. What about this lights me up? What could I do here that would excite me? So that happens on December 21st, that ingress. And then our next point is December 27th when we look at the sun squaring the moon in Aries. So this would be the first quarter moon. And when I think about this, I'm really noticing this is like an ignition point. That moon in Aries really has this feeling of let's get things going. It's time to just move forward. No hesitation, no apologies. And that first quarter is really that time of things are emerging into the light. I'm starting to see things. And I think too about Aries is that at least here in the northern hemisphere, where a lot of this, well, I guess most of the astrology that we're working with, Western astrology, would have been developed. That would be associated with spring, with things are coming to life, things are bursting up from the soil below. Things are shifting, and they're starting to be more manifest in the external world. So when I think about this, it is really an external ignition point about what am I growing? What am I creating? And can I just go ahead and do it? Can I stop talking about it and stop kind of hesitating or whatever other techniques I might have to procrastinate? This is a time maybe to notice where there is hesitation, to notice where there is things that are holding back, and to just do it anyway. Takes me back to one of my favorite self-help books. The all of the wisdom that you need is evident in the title. Feel the fear and do it anyway. So this is a time to feel the fear and do it anyway. Ignite the spark, go for it. And then on January 1st, Mercury will move from Sagittarius, where it has been, into Capricorn. And this brings that storytelling, kind of free flowing or freewheeling Mercury and Sagittarius energy much more down to earth. in this Capricorn structure. Capricorn is an earth sign, it's a cardinal earth sign, so it has this initiatory energy, and it really is that sign of moving mountains. So Capricorn is going to like structure, it's going to like strategy, it's going to like for things to be grounded and articulated with authority. Mercury in Capricorn, to me, is a planet that really is able to speak with authority, it's able to listen with authority, able to communicate with authority, and to think with authority, maybe even to know that your thoughts have authority, that your thoughts are creating the world around you, and they really are. So we'll get to work with that energy throughout the month. And then on January 3rd, we'll have a full moon when the sun is opposing the moon. The moon will be in Cancer. And I always love the full moon in Cancer. Cancer, the moon is the ambassador for the sign of Cancer. So it is very much a place of comfort, a place of tenderness. It almost has like a retreat feeling to me. That Cancer full moon can bring up so many glorious and wonderful emotions and feelings. Both of these signs, Capricorn and Cancer, can be linked with memory. They can be looking towards the past. And of course, the past only really ever exists in the present. So when I think about this full moon, I think about how do I align my present joy with my past experiences? And some of that might be if you look back to things that show up here, so nostalgic moments, things that are really tugging at your heartstrings, how can you really allow yourself to be with those in an embodied way now and know that they are present now? Your memories never leave you. Your memories are coming from you. They're present with you in this moment. And not only that, they change as you change. So rather than feeling that nostalgia of, I wish things were the way that they had been, I want to hearken back to that, knowing that, well, whatever the experience is that I had before, I'm having it again now. It's always available to me. And rather than feeling like what happened is better than what's happening, can I just be comfortable with what's happening now? And can I fill it with love? Can I fill it with joy? Can I allow for it to move through me? And know that the past is here in the present, and I am recreating memories in every moment. And then on January 5th, we will have the sun begin its cazimi with Venus. So this is the sun conjunct Venus when Venus is moving through the heart of the sun. And this cazimi is going to last for a few days from January 5th. It begins, at least here London time. It's going to be happening all day on January 6th and through January 7th when it comes to a conclusion. So this is a very lengthy cazimi. And when planets are going through a cazimi process, a few things happen. And I'm highlighting this because we will very soon after this have the Sun-Mars cazimi. So it's a purification process. It's a planet going through the divine fires of the sun. So it really has this glorious feeling of burning things off. It also is an elevation of the energy so that planets are speaking from their own divine or higher consciousness. If you imagine the sun at your back and you are speaking with the force of the sun, with the light of the sun, it is radiating out all around the solar system, perhaps even all around the galaxy, the universe. Kind of picture you're ringing a bell and just you feel the vibrations and you see them moving out. In this case, the Venus isn't just ringing its own bell, it's also ringing the bell of this enormous star that's sitting at the center of our solar system. So when I think about this with Venus and in Capricorn coming together with the sun here, I really think it's interesting. What's coming to me is the authority of beauty. And I don't know that I've ever said or felt that expression before, but beauty speaks. Beauty is a force that gathers attention. It's a force that can really command respect. And I suppose if you think about this in the art world, some of the most beautiful pieces, how they hang in a gallery, how they hang perhaps on their own wall, or they have their own custom case or their own space where they're being displayed in these institutions of tremendous wealth, tremendous authority, tremendous power. There they are, commanding respect. And you see people come up towards them, crowds come up towards them. And as they arrive, they go into moments of silence, moments of appreciation, appreciation for what this is, for all that went into creating it, for all of the materials, for all of the practice, all of the mastery, all of those people who brought this painting, this glorious work of beauty together. just being able to behold that and to sit with that. And also perhaps even appreciating all of the people who have looked at this painting over perhaps centuries with that same reverence. So this quality of reverence, this authority that beauty offers us. What's it like to move through the world as a beautiful person? We all get so many stories from the world around us on what counts as beautiful, and Capricorn can certainly look to things that are conventional ideas of beauty. And those conventional ideas do shift over time. And it's interesting to notice if you look at pictures of people who would be declared beautiful or deemed as beautiful from several hundred years ago, certainly their bodies look very different from the bodies that we would deem as beautiful now. And very often the bodies that we're deeming as beautiful now are artificially enhanced in some way, either in the physical world or digitally. You think about Photoshop or increasingly with artificial intelligence or filters. So we're deeming things as beautiful that aren't even humanly possible in some ways. So this is a chance to really release those, to burn them away, to let them go, and to let yourself move through the world with the authority of beauty. Because truly, our universe is a beautiful place. Everything that it creates is beautiful. You are part of our universe, so therefore you are beautiful. So this is really an invitation, this period of time, to move through the world with the authority of beauty. And then soon after this, we'll have the Venus and Mars conjunction happening in Capricorns. That happens in January 8th, just after the Sun Venus cazimi. And again, Venus and Mars coming together is such an ignition point for passion, for love, for that dance of, ooh, like I'm moving towards you and you're moving away, and I'm moving towards you and you're moving away. It's like the tango almost, I think about when I think about these two coming together. And what's it like to be able to sit with that energy of moving towards and moving away, but also with the solidity of knowing that you are moving together, much like if you are doing a dance with somebody else. You're never letting each other go. You're holding hands, you're interlocking bodies the whole time, and you're not afraid that someone else is going to leave. So what's it like to be in a relationship where you feel safe and you feel that commitment and you feel that structure holding the two of you together, and in that you're allowed to move towards and away from each other? What's it like to have that structure in a relationship? And that relationship, it could be with yourself, it could be with an intimate partner, it could be with a friend, it could be with a group, it could be with an entity, it could be with anything. So you don't need to be in a committed romantic relationship to experience this. To me, it's more just embracing that idea and wishing that to be possible for all of us, that we can all feel these wonderful containers of commitment and dedication that allow for us to move towards and away from each other, because that keeps it interesting, quite frankly. Life is much better when we get to dance it. And then right after this, after the Venus-Mars conjunction, we'll be experiencing the Sun-Mars cazimi. That begins on January 8th. There's a brief period of time where the Sun, Mars, and Venus are all going to be in the same degree, which to me is an especially potent period of time. Again, that sun lighting up that passion and maybe even providing this divine container for the uniting of these two energies. Also think about Venus as the divine feminine and Mars as the divine masculine, the structure and the flow, and here in some way being blessed or graced with divinity. And so this Sun Mars cazimi will begin on January 8th. It will continue through January 9th and finish on January 10th. And this to me, I love Mars and Capricorn. Mars and Capricorn in traditional terms is thought of as exalted or as an honored guest. And this to me, as I've understood it, Mars is this wonderful, glorious energy to move us forward. It's like the gas pedal, our internal combustion engine. And Capricorn is such a solid, steady, strategic sign that it kind of looks like a Clydesdale. You know, we have all of this incredible force and we have it in this very large, slow moving animal. And when we get that real sense of dedication, we get that real sense of commitment. I think so much here around marshaling your resources. When I think about the sun and Mars coming together, I kind of imagine, and I'll use a military metaphor, not because I'm talking about war, but because I'm talking about, I guess I think about like drawing your resources together and claiming that authority and what it's like when you have the authority over the land. over I guess the sovereignty might be another way to think about it. Thinking about the universe being a sovereign place that has authority over itself. Or even when you talk about angels and hierarchies of angels. And I don't need to think about this as a hierarchy as one has power over the other, but just you're looking at things, and I have agency over the bigger perspective, and I have agency over the next level and the next level and the next level and the next level, all the way down to having agency. You could imagine it in your body. If I have agency over my body as a whole, and also I have agency over the trillions of cells that are part of my body, over every single one of them. And also the trillions of microorganisms that are around me at all times. I think there are more microorganisms around us. In fact, I know there are than there are cells in our body that are part of us. What's it like to exert agency and authority over all of these? To think of these as each one of these is like, if you use the military metaphor, is like a soldier, is one part of you that's there, and it's listening to you, and it is obeying you because it is you. So you're always obeying yourself. So interesting to think about that. And that I don't know that I've ever had that metaphor come through, but I think it's a really beautiful one to think about you marshaling the resources, you having agency and authority, and what commitment is like when you're moving like that, what diligence is like when you're moving through the world like that. So to me, this is really a sense of grounded authority and assertion over all of that's in your dominion or your domain. And your life is your dominion. It is your domain. So what's it like to move through that with authority and to take action based on that, to have every action that you take in our physical world? Action is the language that we speak. Everything gets translated as an action. Resting is an action. Waiting is an action. Meditating is an action. Everything gets translated as an action. So what's it like when you take action with authority over the wholeness of your dominion? And then on January 10th, as that Sun Mars Gazimi comes to an end, we'll also get to experience the moons squaring the sun, a third quarter moon, this time in Libra. And when I look at this, I think so much around coming back into balance. What do we need to release from our experience of the month in order for us to come back into balance with, well, perhaps even here with our overall strategy? Capricorn has a wonderful strategic element, and a strategic element is just an approach. What is your approach to life? And if you're taking that approach to life here, of my approach is to follow what I love with the wholeness of my body, mind, knowing that it creates my reality. So if this is your strategy, and this is one that's available for you, over the course of the month, what do you now need to release about that in order to bring you back into balance with yourself, back into balance with relationships around you, maybe even what you need to release in relationships or relational patterns that sit around you in order for you to sit comfortably in your own agency and in your own authority. And that may even be allowing other people to be uncomfortable with the way that you are moving through the world now, that you're moving through the world with greater agency and greater authority over all that you are and all that you create. And then on January 17th, we'll have the sun come into a nice sextile with Saturn in Pisces. It's also going to at the same time be in a trine with Uranus and Taurus. And that sun sextile with Saturn to me is such a wonderful, it's like a kiss of wisdom. It's a wonderful aspect, especially here with Saturn being the ambassador for Pisces. There's a really nice connection. Saturn really understands the sun's message, what it wants to shine out, and it helps it to do so. So to me here, there is something here around, especially with Saturn and Pisces, around like this kiss of infinite wisdom. And there's also to me notes of compassion that come in, the compassion that we can have for the experiences of hard work that all of us have put in to creating the worlds around us, including ourselves here. So this is a wonderful time to appreciate, all that you've done to bring yourself where you are, and to do so with love and compassion. And then that trine to Uranus really opens us up to new ways of being, new ways of expressing ourselves, new talents, new ways of being brilliant. So maybe there's even a connection here. The more that we're able to appreciate the way that we have experienced earning our wisdom. Of course, our wisdom was always available, but we still sometimes have an experience of earning it. So really, how far we've come, that can really unlock the way to a breakthrough for what's possible and remind us, perhaps even remind us as we look back through the past and how we arrived to where we are, that miracles did happen. and that they continue to happen all around us. And we also have that day Venus moving into Aquarius. So Venus really here moving us into this place of integrity and value. And then on January 18th, we will have the Mercury-Mars conjunction happening here in Capricorn. And again, this is such a wonderful aspect, especially here when we're in that last quarter of the lunar cycle, which is such a great time to release, to let go, to cut away. This is certainly an aspect that invites us to do that, to cut away old beliefs. I don't even need to say old, but to cut away maybe conventional beliefs, to cut away beliefs that are coming from authorities other than us. And when I say us, I mean us in the biggest, broadest, most divine sense. So you as your own authority, you as the authority of your higher self, you as the authority of all the universe that is around you, as opposed to things that people told you, especially things that institutions of power might have told you as you offered your agency or your authority to them. There's so often buy-ins into the systems that we have. If you want to be part of the tribe, if you want to, if you want to work here, then you gotta follow the rules here. You gotta follow the codes of conduct. There are no codes of conduct. There are no rules. It's just what we agree to. So here, this is a wonderful time to really cut those away, to cleanse those, to release them, and to really come into I am my own authority. It's me and God. This is it. This is how it works, and I am God. And then we'll have the new moon happening in Capricorn that same day on January 18th. So this is seeding the ground for that next month from this glorious place of Capricorn. And really here another great chance to I guess I'd say to revisit what you are committed to, what strategy you have, what you want to create, and what vision you have for creating it over the next month. And to really do so, what I'm getting here is to really feel it in your bones, to listen to your bones, to listen to what these innermost structural elements of you have to say. And then on January 19th, we'll have the sun in a trine with Neptune. And this is wonderful for unlocking the imaginal realm, for giving us more access to possibility, for fully appreciating that anything that we might want to see can be available here and now. And just by seeing it in our mind's eye, by seeing it in our imagination, we have already created that possibility. We have already realized that it is real. And here too, knowing that when I think about the Sun trine Neptune, knowing that you are much bigger than you appear. You are much bigger than you appear. And then on January 20th, that sun will head into Aquarius. So this is the sun's journey through Capricorn and all that's happening in Capricorn throughout the month. There are, of course, many other things happening in the sky, and this is what I wanted to talk about today. And if you are watching this before Sunday, December 21st, so before the Capricorn ingress, you are very welcome to join me for my free online Capricorn retreat. I'll put a link to register down below. It'll be on Zoom at 8 o'clock p.m. UK time. Thank you so much for your time, for your attention, for your love, and I wish you the best month yet.